case value equals sage hen, in case value equals Parker, oops, in case, and then you can do a default to so if this switch statement doesn't recognize the variable or doesn't create a match, it's going to ask, who are you? So if it's, however, if tUsername does equal sagehen, we're just going to do hello Mr. Sagehen. If it equals, oops, if it equals Parker, I'm going to do the same thing. If I can type here, Mr. Parker, and then I'll save that. And I forgot what we have. Okay, it's currently set to Parker. Let's do refresh. So, switch context also is a way to show and hide things, as well as the rest of them.
Does it matter what order you put the cases in the default inside of the switch context?
Yes, it does. The only real important thing to remember here is the default context should be the last one listed. Okay. These I could go into how C++ manages the switch context. It's not quite the same. Well, let's test it out here. Let's put two case values that equal Parker and see what happens. Okay, so
it'll just do it exactly twice.
Right.
So
right.
both of those cases, because they were both true, they both executed.
Right. So
now what happens if you move the default to the top of the list?
That will break. We could try it. But we'd have to, in order to see this, we'd have to set tUsername to something erroneous, like a bunch of X's. So let's see how that goes. Well, it still worked there.
Wow.
Okay, so
now we'll set it to Parker and see if it still works.
I guess we learned something. There. You're making me look bad, Patrick.
Nonsense. It's not possible.
Okay, we'll set it back to Parker. Let's try that.
The little birdie. Oh yeah, that.
Okay, so that does.
So
break.
it does process the default if you put the defaults first.
Yeah, I guess it does. So
yeah,
generally a good idea to keep that last.
So default has to go at the end. Here it goes.
Okay, quickly, just to finish this off, let's hide this whole thing and get rid of the text variable. There's a few types of variables in WebDNA, math variables, text variables, and form variables. And they all, you can call them explicitly by the type of variable that they are. However, WebDNA, like everything else, it's intuitive. It's going to assume certain things. So let's instead of using a text variable, let's pass a form variable with the type of username that this person is. So let's allow the person to enter in their username and get results based off of what they enter. So I'm going to hide this whole string of stuff that we made. If, oops, let me type it first and then I'll explain what I'm doing here. Okay, so at the bottom here, I've created a WebDNA comment. This exclamation point is the starting of a comment, and then the end exclamation point is the end of a comment. And what we created above, having a comment after an end context tag is just a convention that I use to keep track of what this, because if you have a lot of stuff on a page and you're doing hide ifs and hiding a big chunk of text, commenting an end hide if just helps you know that this is, or what this end hide if is for. So that's just a convention I use. But what we're doing, I'm just going to grab this, stick that up there as well. So what we're doing here is exactly as it says. We're hiding all that chunk of code if tUsername, this variable, has not been initialized. This is going to do the raw tags, or context is used to return to the browser exactly what is typed there. So this tUsername is not going to be parsed, it's going to be compared exactly as it is written. So what are we doing here? Well, we're using a contains operator in the hide if statement. So we're going to say if tUsername, right now we don't know what tUsername is because it hasn't been passed. So we're going to compare whatever is passed, or if there's nothing passed, to the raw explicit text, opening square bracket, tUsername, closing square bracket. And then we're also going to compare if tUsername is blank. So basically we're saying if tUsername is not initialized, we're going to hide all this text. So if I save this right now and go to our test page and refresh, we get nothing.
Can you explain what the vertical pipe characters are doing?
Oh, sure. These are delimiters. They can be any character, really. I just choose them because they're a character that is often not used in text. So what we're really comparing here is the result of tUsername surrounded by pipe symbols.
Unusual text characters. So it's whatever tUsername is surrounded by your personally selected unusual character.
Right.
Okay.
So if it
happens to be the exact characters of square bracket tUsername right square bracket, and that's what the variable actually equals, what it's saying is that WebDNA has yet to assign a value or get a value for tUsername, therefore it's going to appear just like exactly that text. Can we show that on the page? Just take tUsername and display it, and then display the page?
Sure, let's...
well, I don't even think you need the raw tags. I think if we just put tUsername in square brackets, then we'll see what WebDNA will do with a variable that hasn't yet been defined.
Right. Okay. Well, I just saved to that. And notice tUsername is above the hide if, so it will show.
See? So WebDNA sees that tag and would ordinarily interpret it and replace it with whatever tUsername was assigned to be. But in this case, because it hasn't been assigned, it's just going to display exactly that. That's an important thing about WebDNA.